This is your slope formula. So you had your slope in y equals mx plus b, but the slope formula is just that part right there. Okay? All right, so slope can be positive or it can be negative. This is going, if you notice, from bottom to top, right? We go from left to right. That's how we read. So if we look from left to right, would you say that the slope is positive or negative? This is a positive slope. So this is a rise. As we read from left to right, you'll notice again, from left to right, we're going down. And so is this a positive or a negative slope? Negative. So the book calls this a run. Because you're running down the hill. Okay? All right. So then, as we read from left to right, there is no slope, is there? There's no slope. So slope is 0. If the slope is 0, what kind of a line do you have? It's a horizontal line. So how do we write the equation for a horizontal line? Is it going through an x point or a y point? So then it is a y equals whatever value you've got. And this one, what is this slope if it's a vertical line? Undefined. And so we know the equation then, because what kind of a value is it going through? Is it going through an x value or a y value? So will it ever hit a y value? So that's why there's only one variable. That's why we say x equals a value. Because that value is constant no matter what the y is. The y can change all the way along, but the x value that corresponds to it will always be the same. Is this one a function? No, because it's going to be x1, x0, x5. It's going to be a repeat of the x value. What about this one up here? Is this one a function? Sure, because it passes the vertical line test, doesn't it? Every x has its own y, although the y repeats. And for these ones, we're going to say y is equal to, this is a negative m. And here y is equal to a positive m. And so as you're writing the equation to these points or lines that are going to be given to you, you want to make sure that what you write makes sense. If you see a positive slope in your picture, but your equation has a negative value in front of it, there needs to be a little bell that kind of goes off and says, but that doesn't make sense. Okay? All right, so given a rooftop, find its slope. Well, we know slope is equal to the rise, which is what? What is the rise in this picture? 40 over the run. What is the run? 100. And so the slope would be 4/10, which is 2/5. If this is the slope. Okay. Does that make sense? Anybody got a question so far? Okay, so here we go. Find the slope. Is it a rise, a fall, a horizontal, or vertical, and is it a function? All right, so we know that m is equal to -2 minus -5 over 6 minus -4. What is my big mistake that I'm going to do on this problem? If I make a mistake in this problem, what is my mistake going to be? Yes, you will think minus, and you'll think that that minus is going to be taken care of by the negative sign in front of the 5. You can't. It won't. It's minus whatever that value is. Don't inadvertently drop a negative sign. Okay? This is really saying -2 plus 5 over 6 plus 4, which is 3 over 10. Would you say that this is a rise, a fall, horizontal, or vertical? Because the slope is positive, it's a rise. Is it going to be a function? Sure. And it's a function. Okay, the next one. Negative 5, 3, negative 5, 1. What do you right away notice about this one? They have the same x, right? Okay, is it a function? We know it's not a function. And the only one that's not a function, is it a horizontal line or a vertical line? Vertical line. What is the equation of this one going to be? What does x equal always? Negative 5. All right, so we should know that if this is vertical, what slope should we get? Which one? 0 or undefined? Vertical. Undefined. Okay, up and down is not okay. And so we say, well, that's 3 minus 1 over negative 5 minus negative 5. That's 2 over 0, which is undefined. Does it matter if I go 3 minus 1 or 1 minus 3? Does it matter? It doesn't. If I go 3 minus 1, I just start with that first point as my x2. I go this negative 5 minus this one. It really makes no difference which point you start with, as long as you're consistent for both the numerator and the denominator. Does that make sense? All right, so this is a vertical line. And we know in our head that its x is equal to negative 5. 1, 6, 8, negative 1. What do we know about the slope? Well, we can say that's 6 minus negative 1 over, what am I going to say? If I say 6 minus negative 1, then I'm going to say 1 minus 8. And so this is 6 plus 1 over negative 7. 7 over negative 7 is negative. Rise or fall? Because it's negative. You're falling, right? You're going down. Function? It's a function. Why do we know that it's a function? The x doesn't repeat. Okay? All right, next one. What do you notice about this one? The y's are the same. Therefore, is it a vertical or a horizontal line? Because the y's are the same, right? I'm going through the value. All right, it's a horizontal line, which means what's the slope going to be? Because it's going to be 2 minus 2 over 9 minus negative 9. 0 over 18, which is 0. It's a horizontal line. If I asked for the equation, what would your equation be? Nope. Come on. What's the equation? This one up here was x equals negative 5. What's this one going to be? Y equals 2, because that's what a horizontal line is, right? Y equals some value. Is it a function? It is a function. Why is it a function? The y's repeat, and that's okay, right? It's just the x can't. All right. What do we know about parallel lines and their slopes? Yep. So slopes are the same. Okay. What do we know about perpendicular lines? Opposite and reciprocal. So they are opposite. So if one is positive, then the other one is negative. Okay. And reciprocal. If one is 2/5, the other one is 5/2. What about these two? Are these considered parallel or perpendicular lines, if those were my slopes? That's why I'm asking, because this always throws you guys. If if this is a slope and this is a slope, are they opposite? Are they reciprocals? What's the reciprocal of 1? All right, so then therefore these are what kind of lines? What about these ones? If slope is 0 and slope is undefined. Parallel? Perpendicular, right? Think about it. If this is 0, then isn't the reciprocal 1 over 0, which is undefined? And 0 is neither positive nor negative. It has no sign. It just is what it is, okay? So if I give you undefined and I ask for the perpendicular slope, you would tell me the slope is 0. If I gave you 0 and I asked for the perpendicular slope, you would tell me it is undefined. So both of these go with perpendicular examples. We know that 2/5 and -5/2 are clearly perpendicular, don't we? Okay. All right, so for the next one, are the lines parallel, perpendicular, or neither? Okay, well, let's figure out our slopes. M1 is equal to -5 minus 1 over 0 minus, so that's -6 over 2, which is -3. Slope number 2, 10 minus 1 over what? Yeah, I got to start with the same point. And so that's 9 over -3, which is? Therefore, these are both. Would you agree? Stop me if you've got a question. This is review, isn't it? Okay. All right. You find the slopes for the next two. You do it. Is there a way you can maybe plug it in? You know, there's this big plug over here. So what did we get for the first slope? Okay, what was M1? What was your slope here? -3. This was -3? For B, on the first one? It's y's over x's, right? So it's going to be, if I did 3 plus 3 over -5 plus 2, that's going to give me 6 over -3, which is -3. For the next one. Ah. Okay, -2. Just seeing if you're all awake. Okay. All right, next one. I'm going to have 11 plus 5 over 4 plus 4, which is 16 over 8, which is 2. So what do you think? Are they opposites? Are they reciprocals? No. So neither. Neither. Okay. Next slope. 2 plus 1 over -2 plus 0 gives me 3 over -2. Did I do the math right this time? Okay. And then I'm going to have -4. Nope. I'm not going to have -4. I'm going to have -1 minus 3 over -4 minus 2. This gives me -4 over -6, which is 2/3. What's this one? Perpendicular. So did you go 3 minus -1 and 2 minus -4? So remember I said it doesn't matter which point you start with, as long as you're consistent, you'll get the same answer. Okay? Yep. So are you doing y's? You're doing x's over y's then. It's y's. What do you have down for this one? And 0 plus 2? Fine. You're starting with this point. I'm starting with that point. We should get the same answer. It makes no difference which point I start with. Okay? Are you okay with that? Okay. So on the last one, so did you get -3/2 for the first one, but you didn't get it for the next one? So then your way would say 3 plus 1. You drop the negative. That's why I'm always saying put that extra negative in. Okay? All right. Anybody got a question? Let's do our